studio. We in the studio. We in the studio. With Rob in the studio.
What I want to start off with, I want to give you a couple of things I think helps make a strong family. Here's a few things that, to me, if you have some of these things in your family, it will prevent you from being, or not, it will lessen the likelihood that you are dysfunctional to the place where you're falling apart. Not to say that, again, like I said, I think everybody got a little dysfunction in there. That's just human nature. When you put people together or people in something, it's going to have some dysfunction. So, you just figure out how to deal with it the best you can. But if you have these things, it helps you a lot. One is you have to have, to me, and these are mine. These aren't, somebody else can come up with their own if they want to, but for me, first and foremost, if you got God in the center of your family, you have a much better chance of not only not having dysfunction in some way, but being able to deal with things when the dysfunction hits. Because again, I think dysfunction will happen, but you need something that's kind of like the center of your family. That's going to hold mom and dad together. That's going to hold the kids together. That holds all of us accountable. And I think our relationship with God does that. I know that does that for me and my family, is that I know I can't do certain things because God is in the center of my life, in the center of my family. So therefore, I'm going to respond to them in a way, or I'm going to do things that's going to keep me from going too far to the left and messing stuff up. So to me, that's first and foremost. Next, within that, and this is something also that, having a relationship with God will do for you, but you got to have forgiveness in your family. If your family doesn't have forgiveness or doesn't know how to forgive each other, because you're going to fight. That's just what families do. Mom and dad going to get in arguments. Kids going to get in argument. Mom and dad going to discipline the kids. They ain't going to like it. They going to be mad at mom and dad. In some of y'all households, not mine, kids going to talk back and say what they want to say to mom and dad. But, but that's just part of it. But so when those things happen and those disagreements, those hurts happen in the family, you got to be able to forgive each other. And when you learn to forgive each other, that's going to help you also become a stronger family. Families that have shared responsibilities. Everybody has a role to play in the family. The smallest kid, the youngest one, to mom and dad, everybody has a role to play. And so we need to make sure that everyone understands what their responsibilities are and their role in this family are. So that goes to how we communicate with each other. And so we must have, again, that responsibility, but also that communication to make sure that everybody understands what those responsibilities and roles are. And we also have to have respect. We got to respect each other no matter what. You can't have mom and dad disrespecting each other in private or in front of the family, in front of the kids, and then thinking your family going to be strong. You got to have a level of respect where you don't disrespect your husband. You don't disrespect your wife. You don't disrespect your kids. You're going to have to correct them, but you don't have to disrespect them or make them feel less than themselves, because what you're trying to do is build up strong people. And if you got kids that's all beat down from disrespect, you're not going to have strong people. And ultimately, your family is going to be dysfunctional because everybody's trying to piece back themselves together from the disrespect. So you got to have a respect in the household. Generosity, give to each other, show each other some kindness and love. We have to learn to play with each other in a loving way and not just always be about business. And when I speak to you, I got to speak kindly to you. Sometimes I think we forget about how important love and kindness is. And so you got to make sure that's placed in your family. I got to be kind to, it's one thing to say, I don't disrespect you, but it's another thing to say that I don't speak kindly to you. I don't have any love toward you. You can't have that in a family. You gotta be loving each other and being kind to each other in a family. One of those other things that you need, and this is outside of, just things you do, but education. A family that's educated, and I ain't talking about just going to school and learning, whatever, but you educate each other as well based off of the things that you see, the things you do, things you go through. Like right now, my family gets educated a lot of times from me talking to them about things I've been through, or things that my wife has been through, or things that they've been through. They can talk about it. And so we educating each other. But again, school education, very important, making sure you got, you're intelligent enough to actually communicate some of the stuff you do that you've learned. So, you want to make sure that you got an education, or your family is educated. And then also you got to make sure that you're taking care of your health and your family. Because if your family is not healthy, physically and mentally, there are going to be some issues. Because you're not going to be able to function at your highest level, at your full power, if people are always sick, or if people are mentally drained or depressed and all that. We got to make sure we take care of our families. Don't be afraid to take your kids to the doctor. Don't be afraid, if you need some counseling, to get some counseling for your kids, for your wife, for you, whatever. Make sure your mental health and your physical health is strong, because that's going to keep your family strong. And the last one I'm going to talk about before we get into real communication is, last two. Honesty. Stop lying. You can't keep lying to everybody in the family and think you're going to have a healthy family, a healthy structure. You got to tell the truth. You got to be honest with each other. We can't cheat our family, because those are people that we're going to need the most, or we should be counting on the most. So we got to be honest with them. Share when we hurt, share our joy, share when we mess up, and just own it. Like, look, I thought I was doing this. I thought it was going to work out. It didn't work out. My bad. But we're going to fix it. You got to be honest with each other in the family. Because again, outside that door, them people going to hold you accountable at a level that you're going to need your family to support you through it. So, but if your family is like, I don't even know if he's telling the truth about what's going on out there, or I don't know if she even real. Nah, you got to tell the truth. Be honest with your family. And then last one I'm going to talk about, and there's more that you could add, but last one I'm going to talk about is have empathy. Everybody in the family, as much as we know each other and we say, it happened to all of us, everybody feels things differently, experiences things differently. So we need to have empathy for each other. If, as a child, we all go, like me and my sisters went through the same thing. However, how it affected me is different from how it affected them. I can't just put them down and be like, get over it, or, it wasn't that bad. It's your experience. So I'm going to have empathy for what you went through. But I ain't going to make you put that on me. It ain't going to make me feel like you felt. But I'm going to have empathy for what you felt. I understand. And so I think in families, we have to empathize with each other. And let's say, the bills are due and everybody, like you're looking at your wife and she's stressed out, but you're not stressed. And you like, but look, I ain't worried about it. Why you worried about it? Look, that's how she deals with it. Maybe you need to help her deal with it, but have some empathy for the fact that she's stressing, and let her know you got it, as opposed to just thinking she should handle it the way you handle it, or vice versa. We got to have empathy for each other.